It's time for another edition of Focus Forward here on Studio 3. My name is Jamie Salinas, Executive Director of Forward Worthington. Of course, we are the collaboration of the Chamber of Commerce, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Worthington Regional Economic Development Corporation for the Worthington area. And this time, we are here at Minnesota Soybean Processors of Brewster, just down the road on Highway 60. Going to be talking with David Buchholz, and we've got Jeremy Weller here, both the head honchos here at Minnesota Soybean Processors. But first, let's talk to you, David. So you are the plant manager, is that correct?
That is correct, Jamie.
So what does a plant manager do? What is your role here at Minnesota Soybean Processors?
My role at Minnesota Soy is to oversee the operations of the entire facility. We bring in the soybeans from our farmers by truck. There, they'll go into our grain storage to where we get ready to process them. When we get ready to process them, they'll go through a cleaning to remove any dust, dirt, trapped metal. Then we start our separation process of the soybeans to remove the hulls and start to prepare the soybeans for the extraction process and making them into a flake. Once they get made into a flake, we then goes over to our extraction building here where we add our solvent to remove the oil from the flake. And in that process, once the oil is removed, we go through a distillation process to purify the oil from the solvent. And very similar to the meal, we then goes to a dissolventizing process to remove the solvent to where we can reuse that solvent over and over again. That oil then is basically crude soybean oil, where we can then send that either out to our customers directly, or we can send that on to further processing. So at our facility, we do have a partial refinery at our facility where we do crude refining, and we can make the oil into an RB oil and sell that out to potential customers or into the renewable diesel market. But then we have one further step to where we can take that oil and then make it into biodiesel at our facility here.
Wow, okay. And I think you folks can probably see when they drive by a lot of those tanks talking about biodiesel here that can be made here.
Correct, yep. We have the process to make over 30 million gallons a year at the facility. And then on the meal, any meal that we get part of it goes back to the local economy versus via truck, and that we also send out quite a bit of our meal also by rail cars also.
So how often do you send it out by rail? Because that's one of the things that I noticed. Driving by, you always see like the trains, and how often does does a load get taken out?
Well, we run 24/7 every day of the year, besides when we're shut down for our annual outage out here. So we're sending meal out around the clock. Generally, we'll have trucks will come during the daytime, and then we'll load quite a bit of our meal out on rail during the evenings here.
What about other locations here for Minnesota? Like a lot of other, I guess, co-ops and other elevators and stuff with multiple locations. Are there multiple locations for Minnesota Soy?
Well, Minnesota Soy, we are a standalone facility. Just recently, we are going into a joint venture with CBG and making a plant up in Castleton, North Dakota, which we plan on bringing online this next year.
Okay, very good. I think I'll just ask this question to everybody that we talk to. For those kids that are interested in ag, any advice for them?
Well, like I said, we are very much in a rural community. Ag is a very big part of our business. I myself grew up on a farm and went to college for ag engineering. So there's a lot of different degrees, and even without getting a degree to come into the ag industries, a lot of the trade schools, whether it's going for electrical, mechanical, mechanics, welding, we support all that. We even have individuals that didn't go to trade school, which we do a lot of training on the job to be able to run our process for our operators.
It's David Buchholz. He's the plant manager here at Minnesota Soybean Processors. Now, let's talk to Jeremy Weller. He is the general manager. Jeremy, what does a general manager do around here? Because it sounds a lot like what maybe David would be doing too.
Well, so I oversee basically the entire operation. So I'm also what you call a CEO. So I manage the business. So my direct reports are the executive team, which includes David Buchholz. I also manage the CFO, our merchandising manager, and our I already mentioned our plant manager. So David. So I have an HR manager. So we have all of our team is here at one site. So we manage HR, we manage merchandising, we manage accounting, all out of Brewster, Minnesota, and so I manage that team. I also interface with the board of directors, and so my managers are the board of directors who also answer to the shareholders. So I also interface with anybody outside of the plant. So anytime it comes to anything legal, insurance, anything for, politics, any political things, I sit on the board of directors for the Minnesota Biodiesel Council. We're also part of the Clean Fuel Alliance of America, and most recently we just joined the National Oilseed Processors Association, so I sit on that board as well.
Okay, so let's hear here. Talk about the origin story? How did this whole thing start?
So in 1999, or about there was a group of farmers that were sitting in a line at a elevator, a local elevator, delivering their beans. And when you're sitting in a line like that, you got a lot of time to talk. And so they were sitting there going, why are we continuing to bring our beans to a local elevator just to see them shipped outside of the state of Minnesota? Why don't we bring a processing plant near our farms so that we can create more competition for our soybeans, thus bringing more value back to the farmer for their soybeans? And so they got some help from other local farmers. They also got some help from South Dakota Soybean Processors, who processes over in South Dakota. And over the period of about 2 to 3 years, we're able to raise enough funding to basically build this plant in Brewster, Minnesota. So in 2003, they built the crush plant, just the crush portion of the business. About 2 years later, after some discussion with the Minnesota Biodiesel Council in the state of Minnesota, they decided to build the refinery and biodiesel plant, and that started up in 2005. And so Minnesota Soybean Processors is actually made up of about 2,200 members, and over 95% of those members are either producers, an elevator, or farmers that are part of our cooperative. And so a lot of our profit goes back into the ag space and back to our shareholders, back to the farmers that deliver their beans to our facility.
Wow. So how about this? As far as the facility, you got to constantly try to make improvements, to make sure that you're up to date and keeping up with everything that's going on in the industry. What kind of improvements have been done or are in the pipeline here for the facility?
And so what we really concentrate on, number one, is our local team, our employees here at Minnesota Soybean Processors. But number two, we listen to our customers, and our customers are the farmers and the producers that are taking our products, right? And so over the last couple of years, we've been making drastic improvements in our unloading capacity, or at the rate that we're able to unload our trucks. And so last year, we added inbound, outbound scales to increase the efficiency of probing the trucks and then dumping the trucks. And so they weren't waiting down in the bean dump to weigh themselves out after they dumped their beans. But number two, we added what we call a staging road. So that the trucks can stage prior to the inbound scale rather than sit out on the highway or sit out on Zay Avenue. Safety-wise, we get them off the road, but it also makes it a little bit more efficient to bring those trucks into the plant. Upcoming this next year, we're actually looking at installing more bean storage, which is going to allow us to basically stay open at full capacity through the entirety of harvest and not reduce our rate at which we can dump our beans.
Wow. Lots going on here, Minnesota Soybean Processors. Talking to David Buchholz, Jeremy Weller. We've got more guys and folks to talk to, so stick around here. Focus Forward. Welcome back to Focus Forward here on Studio 3. My name is Jamie Salinas, Executive Director of Forward Worthington. Still here at Minnesota Soybean Processors in Brewster, and this time talking to Pam Vosberg. She is the Administrative Assistant. Now, we've heard about Pam, we've heard about administrative assistants a lot. What is your role in fulfilling that position here at Minnesota Soy?
Yeah, my main role, I do wear many hats, but my main role is to answer questions from members, shareholders, help them to sell and transfer shares, any questions that they may have about their membership. I am the one that they will most likely talk to. I also help assist with accounts payable, accounts receivable, and the human resources. I help arrange employee meals and special events and stuff like that. I also help prepare stuff for annual meetings and our monthly employee meeting.
The board meetings.
The board meetings, sorry. The board meetings. We do have a board of 12 directors, And so, yeah, I also answer any questions for our board members that they may have for me, or any tasks that they may ask me. I am the one that gets to help them with that. Any travel that our board takes, or sometimes our employees take, I help with that as well.
Oh, wow. You got to be a travel agent too?
Yeah, I love it. It's great. It's a diverse job, and I love it. So I help employee meals and stuff like that. I do help with that. I'm president of the safety committee, so I help with that too. I also, as every year, employees get shirts or whatever, and I also help coordinate that as well. And if they, this year we gave out jackets, and so I helped get that ordered and stuff like that.
So you do wear a lot of hats. God dang, man.
I do. And I love it because every day is different, and so it's awesome. I love it.
You talk a lot about the members. One thing that a question that was popping around in my head is like, okay, what does it take to be a member? I'm sure there's probably a process.
Yeah, so first off, you have to have a minimum of 2,500 shares to become a member, and then there is a membership fee. People contact me and ask how they can become a member, and I'll have them go out to our website, onto our bulletin board, and they'll either ask, there's people on our bulletin board that are wanting to buy or sell shares, and so then they will contact them, and then they contact me again, and then that's how it kind of gets the process rolling.
Interesting, because I figured that you would be a member first and then start accumulating shares, but it's kind of the other way around.
Right. Yep, so you have to have a minimum of 2,500 shares.
So how just casually, maybe if you know off the top of your head on the website, like how many, what is one person, maybe how many shares are they selling at any given time?
Sometimes it's up to 10,000 shares, or sometimes people just want a few thousand, or it varies.
So
Never the same.
So if somebody wanted to become a member, going on to doing that process and going onto the website, it's very easy to do, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yep. So their contact information is on there, and so you just contact them and negotiate a price with them, and then let me know, and that's how we get the ball rolling. So
Pam, administrative assistant, wearer of many hats here at Minnesota Soybean Processors. Now, one question that I've asked David and I asked Jeremy already. Kids in ag, a lot of folks in FFA and stuff like that, looking to get into the agriculture industry. Any advice?
Well, I did not come from an ag background, and so, for my position, you don't need to have an ag background, but obviously, ag outside and stuff is pretty good. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think one things that David was mentioning here is there's a lot of positions out here that you don't necessarily need to have an ag background, for example, like welding, for example, and stuff like that. And you have lots of those kind of folks around here.
Yeah, correct. So, again, my position, I don't need it, and I've learned a lot about ag, stuff that I didn't know, and still there's a lot to learn too. So.
All right, Pam Vosberg, administrative assistant. We got a couple more guys we got to talk to. We'll do that again here, just a little bit here on Focus Forward here on Studio 3. Welcome back to Focus Forward here on Studio 3. My name is Jamie Salinas, Executive Director, Forward Worthington, Minnesota Soybean Processors. This time we're talking to Jared Wolf. Jared, you are what's called an executive merchandiser.
Correct.
What exactly does that do?
Yes, so to keep it simple, what I do and what my team does is really we are responsible for buying all of the soybeans that come into the plant and responsible for selling all the products that come out. So we're basically the customer-facing marketing group. So really what we're trying to do is provide as much knowledge we can to customers about what's going on in the market. So we're analyzing the markets every single day to try to make the best decisions we possibly can to buy beans and to sell products. That's kind of the brunt of it. A lot of the other piece that goes with that is the logistics piece, and a lot of that's managing rail cars on the Union Pacific Railroad.
Oh, wow. Okay. So for Union Pacific, how much coordination? Because they own the trucks, or not the trucks. I'm sorry, they own the cars. But are you leasing them, or what's kind of the relationship?
It's a little bit of everything. So we have some cars that we get from them. We have some cars that we lease through other entities, and then we own some cars ourselves.
Okay.
But it's a constant moving battle. Of course, logistics, bad weather can always kind of back things up. At a plant like this, where things are consistently coming and going, we rely on those cars to get products out of here so we can keep the plant running.
Now, a question I've been asking everybody with ag industry, kids coming up and coming and stuff like that. What sort of advice would you give those for someone that was looking to be more of like a merchandiser or something like that?
Sure. So most merchandisers have some type of degree in an ag economics, ag science, ag accounting. That's what we see. We also see a lot of people who've kind of come up through the ranks, started dumping trucks on an elevator and kind of worked their way up and wanted to be a merchandiser. And generally that's really good experience because they've seen the whole gamut of what this industry is. So experience works really, really well as well.
We're talking to Jared Wolf, Executive Merchandiser, Minnesota Soybean Processors. One more person to talk to. We'll be talking to him right here on Focus Forward here on Studio 3. Welcome back to Focus Forward here on Studio 3. I'm Jamie Salinas, the Executive Director, Forward Worthington. Still here, Minnesota Soybean Processors, wrapping things up. This time talking to Rob Carstensen. He is you tell me what you...
I guess I'm called a lot of things here.
What are the nice things they call you?
Yeah, okay. The title they currently gave me is accounting manager or CFO or controller or whatever you want to call it. So
I like CFO because that makes you sound like you're big, huge, and important.
Really important.
So what does that do exactly?
I'm basically a bean counter, if you want to break it down.
Pun intended.
Yeah. No, so I'm in charge of monthly financials, tracking inventories, getting information, data to the guys in the ops side so they know what's going on and so they can do their job better. Report to the board monthly, show them all the financials, and then ultimately do the year-end audit and get us through that. So.
And you're in the middle of that right now, is what I understand?
So they were on site last week for the whole week, got them all their information, and now they're wrapping it up. So,
how stressful is that?
I've been here 15 years, so I've been through it a few times, so it's not so bad anymore.
The first year you were probably like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get fired.
Yes, you kind of feel like that. The stress level does go up a little bit, and through the entire office, actually. It's not just me, but no, we've got a pretty good team, so it goes pretty smooth.
So how about those kids, like a question I've been asking to everybody, those kids in FFA, maybe they grew up on a farm, or maybe even those kids that didn't grow up on a farm but are like, you know what, ag's kind of fun. What do you have to say to those?
I would say, get your accounting degree. I got my 4-year degree. Didn't have any experience in ag, didn't grow up on a farm. I actually started in a public accounting firm. Traveled too much, and with little kids, my wife didn't like that. She wanted something close to home. So I applied here. I said, so for kids, if you love ag, you don't really need to grow up on a farm to learn all the terminology and learn all the stuff. I did it. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. And really, if you're an accountant, it comes down to the numbers. I mean, once you get the terminology, the numbers don't lie. So it is what it is.
He is the CFO. He's Rob Carstensen here, Minnesota Soybean Processor. So wrapping things up here, remember, whenever you see David, whenever you see Jeremy, Jared, Pam, or Rob, make sure you tell them that you saw him here. Focus Forward here on Studio 3. Welcome back to Focus Forward here on Studio 3. My name is Jamie Salinas, and it's time again to talk about what's coming up on the calendar here from Forward Worthington. And of course, we've been talking about a lot, but I think it's important because Turkey Day, like we know, is always the second Saturday after Labor Day. 85th annual event coming up this year, and a theme. We always have a theme for King Turkey Day, and the Turkey Day Board of Directors would like your help in creating a theme for the 85th annual King Turkey Day. So if you have an idea bounce around in your head, like myself, I had one, and I submitted it to the board of directors. All you got to do, if you want to tell them your idea, go to their Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, like King Turkey Day or follow King Turkey Day, whatever it is nowadays, if you haven't already, and find that post that's asking about theme ideas, put your theme in the comments. You put that theme in the comments, they'll acknowledge it when they see it, and maybe they'll use yours, or maybe they'll use a combination of a lot of people's. Either way, they need some help getting some inspiration for a theme for King Turkey Day. The one that I turned in myself was turkeys have more fun, which I think is a fun one. Maybe they'll use it this year, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll never use it. Doesn't matter. Just submit your idea. Go to Facebook, go to the King Turkey Day page. Again, like them today if you haven't already, and get your theme idea in. That's going to do it for another edition of Focus Forward here on Studio 3. Remember, if you or if you know somebody that is interested in becoming a member of Forward Worthington, please have them call our office, 507-372-2919, and they can talk to me, and we'll see about getting them a membership here for Forward Worthington. That's going to do it for Focus Forward. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.